Dan Ashworth wants a yes man. Sir Alex Ferguson is backing an unpopular option. The players want answers. Ineos is silent. What exactly is going on behind the mess at Manchester United? Like, share, and subscribe. My name is Webb. Here is the evening night update on the United Hotspot. We are powered by Uplift Causes as more and more keeps coming up as we do count down to what we hope will be a decision before the end of the week about whether or not Erik ten Hag will stay as manager of Manchester United. We've said it several times here before that too many chefs spoil the broth. Indeed, the broth is being messed up by people who are even just still on the way. They have not yet come to Manchester United, but are important in the plan that Ineos had crafted to try and save Manchester United. Now, here is the man I'm talking about, Dan Ashworth, who is expected to come in from Newcastle, still on gardening leave, but he's already working. Now, here is what we are getting from Rob Dawson of ESPN. He's saying that the incoming sporting director, Dan Ashworth, wants a yes manager rather than someone who will challenge the recruitment department over the makeup of the squad. Now, this is exactly what you talk about, having so many people, competent people, but so many of them will have clashing egos, especially if they are men. They're always going to have clashing egos. Now, that's exactly what we are beginning to see. This is a credible source telling about something probably we would expect, because if you have a sporting director, a technical director in Jason Wilcox, you have Jean-Claude Blow, you have Sir Dave Brailsford. Certainly, all these people are going to feel important and they would want to call the shots at some point. Now, certainly such people will want a yes man for a manager, and that is why it was probably reported earlier that Manchester United or Ineos were going to go for a new structure that would see them have a head coach rather than a manager. Now, this is part of the road. Now, it's not even it, guys. The bigger expose we are still getting from the same source is that Sir Alex Ferguson is fronting Mauricio Pochettino. These reports are saying that our legendary Sir Alex Ferguson, the ambassador, is not fully backing Erik ten Hag. Apparently, he's the one pushing the agenda of Mauricio Pochettino. These are reports, guys. Now, listen, look, with all due respect, and it's extremely difficult to speak about Sir Alex Ferguson. With all due respect to Sir Alex Ferguson, he's the reason I started supporting Manchester United. I think for me, it was wrong by the Glazers in the first place for Sir Alex Ferguson to be at Man United for all those years. But then after he retires, they keep him around in what they called an ambassadorial role. I think for me, it was completely wrong. Whereas you don't get rid of Sir Alex Ferguson. He could have become an either honorary president or, I don't know, honorary ambassador without an active role in the club. But the thing is, Sir Alex Ferguson has always had a say in everything that is decided since he left Manchester United. He has contributed. You do recall that it is said clearly that David Moyes was his chosen one. And we all know probably he was the worst option of managers we had post him after Sir Alex Ferguson. Worst mistake every one of us clearly saw. He has, and for as long as he's there, trust you me, it is impossible for him to be overlooked. For me, look, think about it. Like Arsene Wenger was at Arsenal, all the years he was there, managed, Mikel Arteta and all these young players who came in. If Arsene Wenger stayed as an ambassador at Arsenal, do you think Mikel Arteta would have the freedom to do the things he's doing? Certainly, Arsene Wenger's word would be taken if he spoke, and certainly if he's there, he must have an opinion, and you must listen to him because he's there. For me, my thinking is, with all due respect to Sir Alex Ferguson, and whether this is true or not, by the way, I've always felt like Sir Alex Ferguson's presence around Manchester United, his physical presence around the club, is always in the director's box, seated next to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, seated next to the Glazers at times. For me, it is always going to have an impact because he has an opinion and you must listen to his opinion when it comes to Manchester United. So for me, I think it's one of the first things that Ineos have got to do is to detach themselves from Sir Alex Ferguson, respect him, but from a distance. They should strip him of his active director's role. He can still come and sit in the director's box because he wants to watch the games, but he shouldn't have a contribution. He should probably be even cut off Carrington because he's pulling managers, he's bringing opinions that are going to change everything we're trying to build. For me, that is extremely wrong. And reports are now saying that he's the one pushing for Mauricio Pochettino. Without, again, I've said it here before that if Ineos are to let go of Erik ten Hag and they don't have Zinedine Zidane as an option, of all the rest we've been linked with, I would be backing Pochettino myself. I said that. But I'm saying Sir Alex Ferguson's presence is also part of the problem we are getting at this club. It is part of the indecision. He's part of the mix because if he's the one now saying Pochettino should be the manager, Jean-Claude Blanc might be thinking of someone else. Sir Dave Brailsford and someone else might be wanting Erik ten Hag to stay. Dan Ashworth is saying, I want a yes man, probably would want Kylian McKenna. It's a mess. That's what he wants, Dizabi. It's a whole mess. So we cannot be going into such a transition with this whole mess around the club. Now, here's what is coming up. Players are beginning to go to make inquiries. They're demanding for answers. They are saying, we want to know what's happening because let me tell you, their careers are at stake. Even the player, we might think that the indecision of Ineos is only affecting the players we're trying to bring in, but even those players who are within, young kids like Facundo Pellistri, for example, Amad Diallo. You talk about all these players who are at crossroads, don't know whether they need to stay or they want to go, want to know who the manager is before they make decisions about their future. They should be talking with their representatives or their agents and they're saying, what is happening? Are we in the plans of the next manager? Is Erik ten Hag the next manager? If he is, then Ahmad and Facundo Pellistri and everyone and Scott McTominay will know where they stand in the plans of the manager. If he's not, they will certainly, if he's not going to be the manager, they will certainly want to know, are they going to be in the plans of the next manager? So we are going into a critical stage, a transfer window that's about to open. It's a critical stage in any footballer's career. You've got to give them answers. And that's exactly what's happening. They're coming out to demand for answers. This is a big problem that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has invited upon himself. And how he gets out of it is, again, your guess can only be as good as mine. But it's indeed a mess going on at Manchester United. We have been speaking about so many players, but all players we are pointing at are being wanted by our biggest competitors: Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, name them. And in all these battles for these players, these other clubs are ahead of us. Clearly, not because they have more money, perhaps they also might be facing the same challenges we are facing. Perhaps some of them do also have financial fair play situations, but they are ahead of us because they have clear projects going on. So we are going into a window where players will know where the project is headed to. Mikel Arteta doesn't talk to a player now ahead of Man United, and we think Man United will have a chance. We know that we've already booked a meeting. Us and Chelsea have booked a meeting with Michael Olise, according to Fabrizio. What are we going to tell Michael Olise? There is no project. This is beginning to look ugly. Ineos might want to get things happening. Otherwise, we have stagnated for way too long, and the mess is only going to get worse. What exactly is bound to happen in the near days? Let's wait and see. We are following this, but Dan Ashworth is seeming to be part of the reasons why things are taking different twists. Probably because he knows when I come in, I want people who will listen. Is it a good thing? I think so. Because if you bring in this is part of the issues we've had. We've had managers who are calling shots, who are bringing in players they have dreamt of managing and stuff. So we need a sporting director. Don't get me wrong. But the way Ineos have constituted the structure they have built is creating commotion and confusion, and it's glaring. And that confusion, there is delay because Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who should be making the final shots, does not want to make mistakes. He can't risk to make mistakes. So he has got to be as careful as he can be. But at times, if we've got so many people contributing in the boardroom, contributing key decisions, so many people in so many important positions, it is going to be difficult for you to come out to a single decision because you trust all these people, and rightfully so. But who are you going to listen to? If you make one decision, you're affecting one, you're annoying one. You make another decision, someone else is annoyed. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe himself is not a footballing, a football man. He's not knowledgeable about football. So he has got to rely on these people and what they tell him. But he calls the final shot. What exactly does he do? That is exactly the situation Manchester United is in. It is not looking good at all, guys. It is not looking good at all. it's looking like a mess. But again, we might be subject to another delay. We might be, again, forced to endure another delay to say decision, because now if Mauricio Pochettino and Sir Alex Ferguson are coming into the picture, and Dan Ashworth is saying he wants a yes man, you don't expect Pochettino to be a yes man. You don't expect Erik Ten Hag to be a yes man. It will be extremely difficult unless he sees the love from the supporters and he says, you know what, let me just take it. But the reality is, in football, it's the manager who faces the media. So if you're a yes man, what are you going to tell the media?